Welcome to The Longest Turn. This is episode 78, Top 5 Games That Surprised Us. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the games we've been playing lately. Then we're going to jump into a top 5 list.
Yeah.
Games that surprised us.
That's right. Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. Well, at least that's how I put my list together.
That's how I put mine as well. So
I did as well.
we could
Okay,
have
good.
this
With
negative
some
surprises.
struggle, but yes.
Okay. Well, as
Yeah.
long as we got a list,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Hey, it's good to be back on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, you
back.
took a little break.
Little break. Yeah.
One episode.
Yeah,
break.
but I enjoyed listening to the games you guys been playing lately without me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're excited to get those games played with you soon too. So.
Yeah.
Me
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need more gaming in my life.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't, right? Gaming just makes life better.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever an instance where gaming has made my life worse.
Well, there's been some. I play some
I
bad.
think there's bad games. That
Yes,
I've
but
experienced,
not
the
general
gaming
life
did
being
not
worse.
Make my life worse.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that we both hesitated. We've had some bad experiences, I guess.
Yeah. Over the years. I mean,
Sure.
memorable experience.
No actual tables flipped though.
You
Which
know,
is
I've had a couple of friendships kind of tested.
not ruined, though.
Not ruined, but tested by our individual interpretations of how rules work. So
There was a one time where I was playing Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit, and I believe it was Aragorn, the minifigure. And this is like the collector's edition of this Trivial Pursuit was hucked at my brother-in-law.
I do recall
by
you
someone.
telling me about that.
right.
That was not my favorite moment when somebody was treating my game that way. But
Yeah, that's not great.
I'm glad that you went straight to treating my game that way, not treating me that way, because you were the object of a target of being hucked at.
well,
You want your games to stay
yeah,
nice,
it was,
right?
I mean, it was my brother-in-law, but yeah, to be fair, I was not hit.
Use the book, not the toy, not the
yeah.
piece.
There, and I've told this story before. There was a game of Radis that got ruined mid-game by a board flip.
Well, I guess we're done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're done. Yeah. So 99% of the time.
All right, so generally speaking, gaming has made my life better.
I have a card table that's kind of on its last leg, and now I kind of want to stage a smashing of the card table.
Yeah. Rage quit.
Rage quit, yeah.
Yeah, while playing like I don't know, some terrible.
We should do it at one of your big game nights when a bunch of people who aren't regularly at game nights.
Oh no!
react.
So I have my big game night on Saturday. A lot of newbies that haven't played games before come with your table, rage quit, and then just storm out.
And storm out, or tell everybody the game night's over and we're leaving.
Yeah, right. And then I'll just say, well, that's usually how game nights
I think
end.
some of them know me.
Oh, this is
So
true. They do know you.
That would be a problem.
That would be a problem. Okay.
But I like it.
Maybe this is a convention thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stage a table flip rage quit.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about how games are ruining our lives. Let's talk about the games we're playing lately that have made our lives better.
Oh, that's right. People want to hear about that. Okay, that's true. All right. Well, who's starting?
Tyler hasn't been on in 2 episodes. Let's get what games Tyler's been playing.
Let's
lately.
talk about a good one. Let's talk about a good one.
All right. So
More.
one of the games I'm going to talk about is going to require at least 20 minutes of Brandon Sanderson lore and discussion.
I got to go to the bathroom.
Nope. You stay right there and listen to Tyler and I talk.
Well, I have read this series, so I may be able to contribute.
So the game I'm talking about is Mistborn, the deck building game. This is designed by John D. Clare, and it's published by Brotherwise Games.
Brotherwise does all of the Sanderson
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, they got
Stormlight
the
Archive and stuff.
exclusive,
Yeah.
which this is one of the few games that I've played of Brotherwise, and I really enjoyed it. If you're not familiar with Mistborn, it takes place on the world of Scadrial. And just real quick.
Okay, well,
lore.
you go for it. Let's keep it under 20 minutes. So.
Non-spoilerly low.
Yeah, non-spoilery.
So Mistborn has most of Brandon Sanderson's systems in the Cosmere have a unique magic system or more, one or more. In this Mistborn, the deck building game, we are, like I said, visiting Scadrial, where the main magic system is the swallowing of metals.
It's called Allomancy.
It's called Allomancy.
The swallowing of metals.
That's the lamest magic name I ever heard.
So it's called Allomancy. There are normal people in this world who do not have any abilities whatsoever. There are mistings who can burn a single type of metal. And when I say burn, they ingest it, and then they can, quote unquote, burn it to use its ability, right? And there are different abilities tied to each metal. So there's normal people who don't have any of these abilities. There's mistings who can burn one metal and use it for one ability. And then there's Mistborn who can use all 8 of the metals.
Super powerful.
Super powerful. Mistborns, they are incredibly powerful. They're usually from the ruling class families, and it's kind of a dreary world, lots of ash and
ash mounts and
and there's slavery and oppression, and
it's a happy little tale.
It's not the happiest planet in the Cosmere.
It's an empire run by a dictatorial tyrant.
Yes.
The Lord Ruler.
Known as the Lord Ruler, or spoiler.
No spoilers.
Yeah,
no spoilers. What the? Oh my gosh.
Okay. So anyway.
You're going to lose your privileges here. Like
the title says, which it's a deck building game. You draw a hand of cards and you play those cards out and you get to use their abilities. I have to disclose, I've only played this solo. I have not played it competitively. I have not played it cooperatively. I've only played it solo, where the main mechanics of the game are the same, except for you are trying to defeat the Lord Ruler. And he is super powerful, just like in Mistborn lore. He's very difficult to beat at just trying to stay alive long enough to defeat him. And when you start out in the game, you have the ability to burn one metal at a time. You can flare metals, which there's a lot of Mistborn terminology, but when you flare metal, you're basically
consuming it all in a flash.
Yes.
Supercharged.
And for the sake of the game, you're exhausting that metal until you can refresh it later. So it lets you burn more than one metal per turn. As you go up on this training track, which you automatically go up on each turn, you will become more and more powerful. You'll start to be able to burn more metals. You can play some of the action cards as a metal to also use that ability for a different card's requirement.
Like turn it sideways underneath the card.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can also use those action cards to refresh a metal that you've already flared. But anyways, it's a deck builder. You're playing metals, trying to build a stronger deck. You're trying to eventually get to the point where you can do damage to the Lord Ruler and then sustain that damage long enough before you die. And there are 3 missions that you have to complete. You take your turn when you're playing solo, and then the Lord Ruler goes, and you draw a card out of his deck, and it'll either be an adversary, one of his inquisitors, or a Koloss, or whatever, and that will be placed in front of you, and you'll need to defeat it on your turns, or it'll continue to attack you or use some ability against you and do lots of damage to you. So he's either going to flip over an adversary that's going to add it to in front of you and you got to take care of that, or it's going to cause problems, or an edict will get flipped over. An edict causes the Lord Ruler to go up on the dominance track, which he becomes more and more aware of you. He's already all powerful. But as he goes up on the dominance track, you uncover abilities on his card, and you'll have damage done to you. You'll have to flare certain metals. You'll have some choices, but things will happen that are not good. Okay?
And they progressively get worse.
Yes. And more painful.
Yes.
There's usually an additional effect, and if you haven't completed any of the 3 missions, then he will heal up to 10 health for each mission. He starts out with 48. So until you complete the missions, it's pretty impossible to kill him.
It's not even worth trying.
Immediately heals. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last thing on his card will refresh a couple of the cards in the market. So Really, it's a game of attrition as a solo game, and I'm sure the co-op as well. When you're playing cooperatively, you're just trying to eliminate the other players. Like I said, I haven't played that way.
Or competitively, right?
Competitively.
Yeah.
Did I say cooperatively?
You said cooperatively.
Twice?
You did, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm on fire. I was actually really impressed with this game. The first 2 times I played it, the first time I got smoked. The second time I got super close, and then the third time I finally won. I was playing as Kelsier. Each time you play, whether it's cooperatively, competitively, or solo, you pick one of the unique characters and have some unique abilities. And I don't know, I loved how well the game was implemented in the world and in the theme. And I thought it was fantastic. I love the main component that I love of this is your little player board. You have a token for each metal. And as you use the metals on your turn, you take the token and put it on the card that you're paying using that metal towards that card's ability. Or if you flared one, you flip it over and, and it goes back on the track or on your player board. And I just love that component and how well it keeps track of what metals you've used that turn, which ones need to be refreshed. You can also get ATM, which is like the all-powerful metal. You get that later on in this game, and it can be very powerful with some of the cards that you use it with.
It can be super powerful, and there's also a win condition where if you get the card and have enough ATM, it's an immediate win.
Yes, there's one
There's
card.
like the confrontation card or something. I forget exactly what it's called. So that's an interesting kind of twist to the game, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I've only played solo. I want to play with each of the 4 characters that are available playing solo. I think it's fantastic. I really enjoyed my plays with this. It takes about, even a solo play, it's at least an hour, I think, but I felt engaged the whole time I was playing with. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I've played it twice. First time got destroyed. Second time I actually won, which was cool. And it was a lot of fun. I played as Vin. So I will say the characters are asymmetric, but they're not wildly asymmetric, right?
Yeah.
So they focus on a few different things, which I think is great. I do think the game benefits from knowing the world.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're going to get more enjoyment out of it if you understand the world, right? You'll understand the terminology, understand the characters. I think it makes it a better game because of that. One thing that drives me absolutely nuts about this game is that stupid training track, right? Because you have to remember to go up that training track every time.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I would forget nonstop. And I threw it in the Discord and one of the guys in Discord's like, I forget all the time, right? There has to be a better way to implement that. And sure, it's a me problem, I'm sure, but it's like,
it's the first thing you're supposed to do on every turn, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you forget to do it, I guess you forget to do it, but
no, I get it. It's just one of those things that, and a lot of games have this where it's easy to forget something. And I think mechanically it's fiddly is the word, right?
I assume that it's not like a positive benefit for you. It's just an upkeeping tracking.
It's an upkeep.
No.
It's upkeep, right? That's what it is positive.
It does give you positive rewards as you go further and further up. It allows you to burn more metals. It unlocks other abilities.
It gives you ATM.
It does give you ATM.
ATM at times.
When you get to the end of it, and
you're just loading up on ATM at the end,
which is awesome.
It is. It is.
I only ask because I tend to find that the things that are primarily negative are easier for me to forget in a solo experience than things that give me some sort of benefit. But
so it's interesting because at the end of your turn is when you discard your cards and draw new cards. Mm-hmm. And I started playing this way. I can see the disconnect because you then start out your next turn and it's like, oh yeah, I got to go up on the track. I like to do it where you draw your cards and then I go up on the track and then I don't forget. And then it's ready to go the next turn. There's a card or two where you would have to be like...
There's edge cases for that.
Yeah, there's a couple edge cases. There's one of the adversaries that doesn't let you go up on the training track. I think there's a couple other little things where you just... -1 or go back, I don't know. So I can't see what you're saying because
Sure, yeah.
it's weird that you draw a new hand at the end of your turn and then on the start of the next turn, then you go up on the track. I would have rather those be coincide with each other,
Yeah, I could
and
see
then
that.
it would
I could see
maybe be a little smoother. But
it's a minor. It's so minor,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
It's a very minor thing.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that is just it's a little fiddly for me too is there's the flow of the game just seems a little strange to me, because you have money that you can spend. You can spend that money, but then you go up on a track to get more money. It's just the flow of it. It's just a little bit strange playing it. I don't know. It wasn't like super straightforward. We talked in the last episode about Concordia. You're playing a card, you're doing what the card says. It's just so streamlined and straightforward.
absolutely. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That kind of thing. There's just a lot of different stuff going on, which isn't a negative. It's just,
But is that different than any other deck builder? Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah, for
Clank,
sure.
where you play your cards and it's like, okay, I'm going to spend my money and then I'm going to use my boots. And
Oh,
then,
I think Clake is much more straightforward than this one is.
Okay.
That's what I think of it. And this is not a negative. It's just when you get a more complicated deck builder, which I think this was a little bit more complicated.
It is. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's going to be more things to think about and more things that are going to be intertwined. And I go up on this and I get this, and then I can spend this and do this, and I flare this metal and I get this. And wait a minute, did I do that or did I do that before? Okay, I did that before, and then I'm going to do this. It's just that kind of thing happens in this game. Not a negative. It's just something that is a little bit more upkeep and things to keep track
Yeah.
of. That,
I will say, I don't want to play this competitively.
That's what I was going to ask.
At the table with people who have not played it cooperatively or solo first.
Interesting, because I was
Yeah.
going to ask specifically. You both have only played it solo. You mentioned, and
Yep.
I wanted to know: is this a game like I haven't played it, and I don't own a copy? It's one I would love to play, but like, is it one that you would jump into and play with somebody multiplayer? And it sounds like only if you're doing it cooperatively for the first time, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think that first play is a little overwhelming. And just for the sake of the flow of the game, I'd rather play cooperatively and be helping someone than
Sure.
attacking and being attacked by them, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't know. I just think it would flow a lot better if they've already played.
Yeah. And I will say, I have a few minor nitpicks about the game. The game is awesome.
Oh,
it's
is.
great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I like it. And I think I want to continue playing it for sure. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's great. I was a little disappointed it was limited to only Allomancy.
first book? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The expansion potential, I think, is there.
That's exactly what's going on here. Like, they're not going to throw everything in.
No, I totally get that. I asked months before this was released I think it was on their Discord server, and they were like, no, it's just Allomancy. It's like, oh.
Well, and like, if you want to use the game to introduce people into the Cosmere by any means, you don't want to spoil anything for them. So having them have other systems that are like on that planet is hard until they've read the book. So I don't know.
There's enough to digest in all the stuff that's
true.
thrown into the first
for
game.
Sure. It is weird. I haven't seen a main character show up at all. Sazed. I didn't see him at all in this. I don't know. I was a little disappointed that.
Well, I mean,
He
again,
was-
a potential
I don't remember-
expansion stuff there for like.
Anyway,
I
moving on.
understand why he doesn't show up.
It's a great game. I've really enjoyed it. I look forward to playing all the characters solo. I wish there was some variation and maybe a couple more Lord Ruler dominance cards, just so each time you played him.
Oh, it's another Steel Inquisitor, or it's another.
Yeah, the sequence of actions of when you take health and when you have to burn metals and when you have to do certain things and make certain choices was a little bit different each time.
I love Mistborn. I love Brandon Sanderson
It's
stuff.
second class, but yeah.
All I was going to say is that, like, I don't mean to get too cheesy with this because it's a favorite book, but I am going to talk about my next game that I want to talk about, which is Fromage, a cheese game.
Oh, don't want to get cheesy, huh? Okay.
And we've talked about this in the past.
We have.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to explain this game because Tyler recently just talked about Fromage and how it plays. It's basically just a worker placement game does some interesting new worker placement style stuff. Everybody has a quadrant on that they're placing workers on, and then the quadrants rotate around the table. I think that mechanism is so interesting. Kevin and I went and played with Greg and Ben and got our first experience of this game on the table. And this was Ben and Greg's first experience as well. They had a copy of it, and we learned it together and played. And
played on that incredibly warped board,
yeah.
which was sad, but
Did
still
they have the
it functioned.
upgraded all nice version, or would they have the
I don't
retail
know.
version?
I think it was retail, but it was really nice.
We asked that question. We didn't
Yeah.
know what the difference between if it was the retail version.
It said limited edition. So
it did say
Okay.
limited
Then
edition.
I think that's the nice one.
That's the nice one? Okay.
Like those wood bits and pieces are
yes.
really
all
nice.
the buildings were different.
The animals, the cows and
Yeah.
goats and
Yeah.
sheeps, and
Yeah,
it
that's
had
cool.
a lot of really cool components in
Yep.
it. But this was our first experience, exposure with it. Tyler, I remember you talking about this, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. But I gotta say, when I listened to what you said, I was interested, excited, but I wasn't like, I need to get this played soon.
I think when I talked about it, I liked it, but I was self-aware that I was terrible at the game. But I liked it at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like maybe that was the experience or the message I got off of you, because when I played it, the whole rotating of the board and having your cheese pieces workers point at you and then you retrieve them was just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Well, every time they were looking at me, I'm like, "Oh, hello," and then I'd go pick them up. It's
nice
like,
to see you.
"Hey, you're back." It's just-
And I hated seeing anybody else's face. That was,
yeah.
oh, Kevin, stupid guy's looking me right in the eye. I don't care about you. Like,
I love that
Yeah.
you can basically make cheese and go anywhere, almost, and you don't have to pay a ton of resources for it. Your resource is time that you're paying.
yes.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think that's a really cool thing. So when you place a cheese worker down to make a cheese on the quadrant that's in front of you, you're going to be waiting 1, 2, or 3 turns to get that worker back. And
But
that's
you get-
basically what you're paying for, with a couple caveats. But
Sure. Yeah. But you get a really good spot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you make some jam.
Or
like
it synergizes with something you're working on
Yes.
specifically. Some things, like I had a building that said whenever you put it in a 3 spot on the resource tracks, you get an extra 1 of that thing. So instead of getting 3 resources of that type, I would get 4 resources. And it was cool to see how each building had a different kind of vibe to it. And we drafted all those buildings at
which
the
I
start.
had no clue what I was
No
doing.
idea.
But it still was awesome.
And it turned out being like, oh, it's very different than what Kevin was doing or Ben
Right.
was doing, right? And I was like, oh, this is interesting. It makes for a lot of the variability in it. I almost put this on the list of things I was surprised by.
I could have put this on
Because
my list,
I
but did
was
not.
I was not as I was interested in the game. I was excited by the game, but I wasn't like playing it. I was like, this has a lot more, I want to say meat to it, but that just seems wrong in a cheese game. But it had more meat on its bones than I expected it to, and I liked what was coming out of this. And we've played it now on BGA as well,
which was really fun.
really fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I love that it's on BGA.
Yeah, I do too.
It's definitely a game that you cannot play smear Kasi. You can't smear your cheese everywhere, right? You gotta.
You gotta focus.
on
Yeah.
2.5 areas.
Well, and that's what I was going to mention. In this game recently on BGA, we were within
1 point.
1 point. Tyson and I.
Actually, all 3 of us, wasn't it?
no, I
You
was,
were a little bit-
Ryan
I was a little bit behind.
Yeah. But I did not complete any cards at all.
Any of the contract cards or whatever.
Which probably means that's why I lost by 1. Any of the contract cards. I just focused on other things. I didn't even, focus on those at all. And I was within 1 point, right? So there are multiple
paths to
victory, but you do have to focus on 2 or 3.
I will say
things,
I didn't
right?
realize that Tyler had used his last cheese on that turn, and
That was mine. I ended
was it yours?
Yeah,
I thought it was
I ended
interesting.
it.
So I'm the one that's taking my turns like once a day right now.
Yeah.
And I go to the game and I'm like, oh, Kevin and Tyson are both waiting for everybody else to take their turn before they take their final turn. At least that's the mental picture I made in my head. Because
I did not.
I was like, usually everybody's already taken their turn in this game by the time I go. And
I mean,
because it's simultaneous.
It's funny you
And I
mentioned
noticed Kevin only had one cheese, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is probably my last turn, but I don't really have an optimal option. So here it goes, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't pay attention to that.
I wasn't waiting for anything.
And that was my problem, is because I placed it on a spot that I was I was like, okay, I'm going to put it here for the next turn or two. And then I looked at as I hit confirm, because I was the last one to take my turn, and it goes game finish. I was like, oh, I really hope that because I did not maximize I could have ended up with 4 or 5 more points if I had done something else on that turn. And I looked at it and I was like, I won by 1 point. That would have made me so upset if I hadn't. But it's funny that you mentioned that for BGA format. When we played that on the table, that is exactly what happened. Is
there's
everybody
tension
was
at the end,
waiting
right?
to see. Like Ben had 1 cheese left in his supply, and I started to go, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wait to see what Ben does, because if he ends the game, I'm doing something different. And so I watched him, and Ben would take his turn.
And then he's like, just kidding. No,
I'm taking it back.
taking it
And
back.
then I was
Like, Ben, what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm doing this. And then he goes, no, actually, I am doing that again. And like, it was this back and forth. And so it was
It's like snip, snap, snip, snap. He just didn't know what he was doing.
You've no idea the physical toll the 3 vasectomies have on a person. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
there is that tension at the end, for sure.
We had a house rule growing up where if you let go of the piece, that finalized your move.
Oh, well,
Those are
that
chess
needs to be,
rules, right?
that may need to be a rule.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Maybe that's where it came from, but we used it for every game. Risk, whatever. Stratego, didn't matter.
Yeah.
I love when everything just lines up perfectly. I've had games of this where I was able to complete a bunch of the contract cheese cards or whatever, where you make the required cheese. I've scored like 30 points or more off of that, where you just get a ton of those cards and everything just lines up perfectly. And that just feels so rewarding. This has a standalone expansion game that's crowdfunding. We're going to...
I'm tempted.
So we're
I am,
leaving
actually.
France and going to Italy. Fromaggio.
You backing it?
Formaggio. Sorry, Formaggio.
Yeah.
I think I will, because
Because the game's awesome, right?
it's awesome and I love cheese. And that's why I originally bought this game.
No, you didn't. You originally bought this game.
Because I love cheese. And I said I would buy a cheese-themed game.
That's true.
And then
And then the next day, basically, a cheese theme game comes out.
on crowdfunding, right?
Right.
And I was like, well, I got to buy it now.
Yeah, I can't be a liar.
I think I will probably get this because you can mix and match the 4 boards from each game.
Nice.
So you can play Formaggio standalone or Fromage standalone, or you can mix and match the boards.
Like the sheets that
The
go
quadrants.
in, yeah, which is interesting because there is so much interchangeability already in the Fromage boards.
The sheets that you put in, but
No,
the quadrants
the
themselves.
quadrants themselves.
Oh, okay.
That's
mix
cool.
and match.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And if
So
that's
take out the
wrong,
area control and put in something else.
Yeah,
for
interesting.
example.
with
Yeah.
both games put together, you can combine any 4 quadrants.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I just wanted to bring this game up. I thought we were going to be short with it, but we clearly enjoy this game. I like this. I'm glad I finally got to play it. I'm super glad it's on BGA. That's Fromage.
All right.
It is a little rough when you have like 5 games going, and it's like, which strategy was I playing in this one?
I don't want to ever do that.
Nope.
Okay, the next game I want to talk about, also in the food category, it is called Combo. All right. So this is by Happy Camper, designed by Iquan Kwan. It's originally, so this is funny. It originally was Surfasaurus Max. Okay. It was rethemed as Combo and released by Happy Camper, like I mentioned. It was Loosey Goosey Games was the original publisher of this game. All right. So I've played this a number of times. It's a simple card game. There are 84 cards total, and 1 to 12 in 7 different fruits. And you can play this up to 6 players. The way it works is you have a certain number of cards that are taken out of the deck based on player count, and then everybody draws 7 cards. What you're trying to do in this game is you're cooperating, kind of, with everybody else around the table to make combos. And these combos are super slushy, which if you think in terms of, poker hands, it's going to be a straight flush, right? Then you have 4 of a kind, which is a smoothie, and then a flush is going to be a slushy, and then just other hands that go down. So you're trying to cooperatively make these combos. So on your turn, you're going to play a card, and then you're going to draw a card. And then the next person is going to play a card and draw a card. And it goes until everybody has played 3 cards. And then you look around the table to see what the highest combo is that has been played. If it's a super slushy, then only those cards that are involved in that super slushy combo get to score. Then depending on, you're going to get either full points or half points. If there's ties in a number, then you'll get half points. If there's no ties in a number, then you'll get full points. You put those face down to the left, the half points go face down to the right. I've actually only played this 3-player. So 3-player, you play 6 rounds. So everybody gets the first player pineapple token twice. And once everybody has that twice, the game ends and you count up your points on the full point side and the half point side, and whoever has the most points wins. That's kind of how you play the game. Where this game gets interesting is you see what everybody else is playing. You see the numbers that everybody's playing, and there's a lot of table talk around the table of, hey, let's go after that combo, or let's try to cut Tyler out of this combo, or we know Tyson's winning, so let's try to go this way, right? Which makes for some kind of fun, interesting scenarios.
There's some poker bluffing kind of elements to it. Nobody knows what cards are in your hand, and you're trying to lead things in some way. The order in which you play cards is interesting because you can be like, okay, I have a really good hand that sets up to make this particular combo, but when do I start playing the cards that reveal that I'm definitely going for that combo, and when do I not? And you don't have a lot of choices because you're playing 3 cards each round. And I've found it really interesting to be able to sit there and determine, does this card go first or does this card go last? And then watch how the table talk kind of unfolds. And then it's really satisfying when you're like, okay, it worked out exactly how I wanted, and the last card I play, and I'm the last one in this round, just scored me the most potential points and potentially cut somebody else out of a deal.
Yeah, because what I didn't mention is it's the highest 4-card combo. So you can completely cut somebody out of getting cards because generally it's the highest combo in that run. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to do the 2, 3, 4, 5 as the combo, and the 1 isn't going to get any points. And what's also interesting is the lower valued cards get the highest amount of points. So the 1 is the best card in the game. If you can manage to get a 1 in your combo, you're going to score the most points that you can get, as long as that's not cut in half by somebody duplicating that number, which is another fun part of the game, right?
Yeah, I like that decision of which card I've got a strategy for this round already. After seeing a couple cards that got played, which one do I play first out of my hand? And there were a couple times where I played a card for my second card. I've only played once. We just played a few minutes ago, and I played there were a couple times where I played my second card, and I was like, dang it, I should have saved that one, because that commits to it. Yeah. Commits the table to that strategy a little bit, or at least nudges them in that direction. Whereas if I had saved it, I might have been able to sneak it in and take more points, or been involved in the scoring.
Or so you save it maybe in because somebody else put a lot of cards into it, and you have all their points, and it's great.
So I like that. I like the decision of which one do I play first, or second or third. I like how quick it plays. I mean, we played in 10, 15 minutes after. I mean, the rules explanation was like 3 minutes, and then it just played really quick. Another thing I like, it's played over 6 rounds in a 3-player game. You keep the same hand, or you're building your hand over the course of the game. So you can hang on to certain cards that might create a royal flush type, whatever, slush pushy or
slush puppy,
whatever.
Super slushy.
Oh, super slushy.
Super slushy.
We got to get terminology right here.
Yeah. You might hang on to cards that might let you do a super slushy, which is unbeatable by the last round. So you can hang on to cards. That hand is building, and you're massaging and manipulating it over the course of the game to hopefully score big in some of those later rounds, which I think is a strategy I did not employ at all in my first play, but I think the potential is there.
I'm just glad you used the word massaging. That's great.
The fact that you brought that up is not something I've considered very much because I am so short-sighted in my play that I have not been committing to like future rounds. I'm just like, what can I get right now? That's all I care about.
You're not massaging your foot.
And I'm not massaging my hands. But no, like I think it's interesting because that is absolutely a potential. But you
whatever, Kevin.
Continue, Tyson. Continue.
I mean, there is potential there, but I also think that it's interesting because that also counts towards the probabilities, right? Mm-hmm. If you're holding on to stuff and you just saw somebody played 3 of a suit, like of a number of cards, right? Then and you have one of those in your hand, you know that there's only a couple left out there in the deck, so maybe committing to that strategy is not the greatest. And if I hold on to this, that means that they can't get what they're trying to get.
Yeah. But these games are fun, right? Because the more you play, the more you see the subtle nuances of the game. Mm-hmm. Like the super basic example is Llama, right?
Yes.
Where there's like 2 decisions to make in the game, but you see subtle things in the game the more you play it, right? This has more of that,
absolutely,
obviously. But the more you play, the more subtle things you see in it. But that's a good one. I liked Combo.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
I kind of want to try Surfasaurus Max just to see if it was different at all.
I don't think it is. I think it's just a
mechanically it's the same. But artistically, it's very
But
different.
I'm interested in Surfasaurus Max because it's dinosaurs on surfboards.
Dinosaurs on surfboards. Speaking of dinosaurs, the next game I'm going to talk about is The Wrath of Fire Mountain.
Wow.
It doesn't say anything about dinosaurs in the title, but it's all about dinosaurs.
It has dinosaurs in it. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
This is by Phil Walker Harding and Eric Lang, and it's 2 to 4 players, published by Gamewright. Came out recently, 30 to 45 minutes play time. Okay. For me, this is Yahtzee meets Oros meets Ankh.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm waiting to hear
Meets Ankh, huh?
Yeah.
your thesis on this one.
So the game board is made up of a 4x4 grid of tiles. There are water tiles. There are 5 jungle tiles, grass tiles. There's a cave, a hut, and a really cool volcano piece that it's 3D and it's exploding. On your turn, you are going to roll 5 dice, Yahtzee, and you can re-roll those dice up to 3 times.
Yahtzee.
Or re-roll them up to twice, so Yahtzee, right?
Yep, right.
Yahtzee mechanic. Mm-hmm. And those dice are going to tell you what you can do with your cave people. Some of those dice will tell you, hey, deploy a guy to a cave or deploy a guy to a hut. That's how you get them onto the board. Some of the dice are the feet let you move your cavemen around the board, and you're trying to move them to groupings of jungle and grasslands, so that you can have the majority on those. When the volcano explodes, everything gets scored. And you only score grass and jungle if you have the majority there. So the other dice values that you could roll, or the dice faces that you could roll, is a volcano. If you roll a volcano, you will put a worker on the volcano. If you control the volcano, something that's really cool at the end of your turn, if you have the most or tied for the most workers at the volcano, you get to shift a tile.
Exciting.
So you'll slide a tile anywhere on the board or in line with the volcano, and you the tile that gets shifted out of the 4x4 grid will go to the other side of the map. So the world is constantly shifting, which is the Oros part. And I'm sure there are other tile games where you do some shifting. The other thing that you might roll is an egg. And when you roll eggs, you place a worker on the hatchery or the hatching location, where you can then pay for dinosaurs that now become yours and only yours. And each one of them has a unique ability like the Ankh Guardians. They're limited and they have special abilities. And you control that dinosaur. So when you get to deploy to a hut or the cave, you can put your dinosaur out.
And that's where the similarities end with Ankh.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. Well, I mean,
There's more. There's more.
Because Ankh,
Area
a lot of
control.
the points that you score are from area control of regions.
Okay.
By your total power in that region or whatever.
Basically Ankh 2.0.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ankh-lite.
There's
Ankh Light. There we go.
There's 8 different dinosaurs. I think you play with 4 different ones each game. Tyrannosaurus Rex roams the world eating other people's followers, which is fun. There's a dinosaur that gives you 2 extra dice to roll on your turn. The Titanosaur, I think, or he gives you an extra die.
Extra die. I got him last time.
If you get both of them, then you get 2 extra die.
Wow.
So, so you basically roll the dice, Yahtzee style, do the whatever actions you ended up with, and then if you have control of the volcano, you get to shift a tile, and if the volcano is full of cavemen, then it'll explode and you'll have scoring done at that point where the volcano scores and the grasslands and the forests, and then whoever has the most points wins at the end of the game. It plays really quick. I really like the gameplay of this. It's simple, it's fun, it's I like the uniqueness of that the different combinations of dinosaurs add to the game up until that last round. I think that last round gets into this min-maxing.
It slows down.
It slows down.
And if you're playing a 3-player game, it's king-makey potentially.
Potentially. I enjoyed this much more at 2-player than I have at 3-player. And also, like if someone points out, oh, you could score 9 points this way with your last roll on your last turn.
You start talking through the turns.
And then if you don't see it, you feel dumb.
Because you haven't mathed it out the way that they did. And
yeah.
Like, wait, how are they getting that?
Yeah, so that could be a potential problem. It could be a group independent
Might be a group problem.
That's how my family would play it. I'm almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like we would just talk through, but you could do this and get this and you're going to get more points here. And I'm pretty sure that's how my family play it.
It's definitely not cooperative though. And so like the cooperative nature of it lends itself to like, I found myself being like, you could get 9 points or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see a way that you can get that, but I don't want to tell you the way to get that because
right. But then it feels where it's like, oh, well,
but I just said that. So why like,
but you also could be wanting me to get 9 points in a way
Instead
that
of,
lets
like,
you get 5 points.
It's
or
the
take
meta. Yeah,
points
there you go.
away from Kevin. So that is a little interesting, a little fun.
Sure.
But the min-maxing I could do without it a little bit.
I
in that
agree.
round. I think it is more fun at 2-player. I think your boys would love this. Potentially,
yeah.
And I think my little guy, when he's a little bit older, will love playing this game because the dinosaurs are 3D. I mean, they're
miniature kind of things.
Yeah. My T-Rex came broken off of his pedestal, but that's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, one of them.
that's sad.
He's got small arms and a bad foot.
The presentation of this game is really nice.
Absolutely.
And, like, I like what it's doing. I generally like the mechanics. I remember as we were playing thinking, this is fun, but I'm not like...
There's no climactic moments.
I'm not excited by it. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not excited by like anything that I'm doing. I'm just waiting. I think the most exciting part about it for me was, can I make sure that I get a volcano in my die roll and then adjust the board in some way? I think the volcano movement is critical, and I think it is one of the most interesting parts of the game.
Yeah, and there's a couple dinosaurs that are a little OP.
Little OP.
Yeah.
The extra die.
But like I said, I would love to play this with my little guy in a couple of years. I think he'll eat this up and will love playing this. And that's Wrath of Fire Mountain with dinosaurs.
Well, speaking of games you play with your little guy, I have been playing a game that has been on my shelf of shame, one that I talked about in our shelf of shame episode. This is number 2 that I've mentioned of
Intent to Kill we talked about
we
last
talked
time.
Intent to Kill last time.
I forgot that was on your list.
Yeah.
I played that one. Now
Man, you're on
Space
a roll.
Bureau. I've played that one. I've played Space Bureau multiple times.
How are you doing, Kevin?
Well, I don't want to talk about it.
Do you remember what's on your list yet?
No. No, I think so. Yeah.
I'm making good progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm okay.
See, but we got plenty of time, right?
We do, but I feel a sense of urgency to not fail this year, and
I did too. That's why I knocked out 3 immediately.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of 3.
I'm
off my
already
list.
ahead of last year. I'll put it that way.
Well, getting 0.5 of a game played, half a game played. If you've gotten one, then you're
full play of ISS Vanguard tutorial. It counts. Okay.
Our podcast, we do what we want.
Back to
right,
space.
Okay. Space Bureau was the game that was on my shelf of shame list. It is published by Hobby World, and it's designed by Andrei Kulupayev, and the artist is Nick Gertz, Polina Kulagina, Evgeny Zubkov. I'm sorry, I do not do Russian names very well, apparently. But this is a game in which you are a space explorer. Everybody is a newly hired captain of a spaceship. Everybody starts the game with a board, and on their board they get it has a number of different slots on the board. And at the bottom, it also has a fuel track. What you're trying to do is fill your ship with individuals, with different crew, and then drop them off on worlds. As you're going through the game, there are several different types of actions that you can do. You can move your ship. You can move a token on a tech track to be able to get resources and bonuses. You can fuel up your ship, and you can build buildings. Those are primarily your main kinds of actions in this game. And every round, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to place a trade agent. A trade agent is one of the crew members that you're going to put on your crew. Each of these crew members have a tile. They're a square-shaped tile, and on them they have an arrow pointing in every direction of the tile, potentially. Or some of the tiles have it pointing up and to the side, some up and on multiple sides. And the reason for that is because where they point matters. You have to connect the arrows in order to play on the next space of your board. So each, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 different rows or 6 different columns in here and 4 different rows. So you're trying to climb up to the very top of your spaceship, and on the top of your spaceship track, it has the most powerful actions that you're going to be able to do. But these are one-time actions. So when I place a crew member on one of these spaces, it covers up an action. I take that action, and then I can't take that action throughout the game. But the arrows that I'm pointing to allow me to unlock other actions that I could use as I'm going through. So you're placing that trade agent, doing the action that is on the place that you cover, and then you have to draw a new crew. The game has like a bag of different crew that can come out, and they're all just randomly generated. They're different types and kind of classes, and they can go to different planets and be able to be deployed to those planets and score extra points. So there's a lot of ways to be able to get points, and you're traveling and establishing buildings and establishing different things throughout the universe. It's almost mini exploration. There's no exterminating in this game. It's like 3X.
It's not a 4X.
It's a 3X kind of a game, but it's really interesting. I think this is a very clean, simple design for the most part. I've been playing it with my 7-year-old. We've played 3 games together, and he is loving this game. He gets it, it clicks, and it has enough depth and complexity to it that like I'm seeing different strategies that I can take, and I enjoy it. I think I mentioned this to you, Tyler, that I was playing with the first time I played. My son wanted to fuel up his ship, because that's one of the actions that you can do, fuel up your ship. And
You did.
and he just was like, that's great. I'm going to have all the fuel in the world. But he never wanted to spend his fuel. Like, he never wanted to go travel or do anything, because he was like, but then I'll run out of fuel. And I was like, yeah, but you have to have this balance of spend it to do it. Otherwise, you're just getting it for no reason. And I was kind of getting a little frustrated. And my wife was like, let him do what he wants, from the other room. And he eventually realized when we finished that game that he didn't score very many points. So this first game, he scored a few points. The next game we played, he tried again, and he realized, okay, I'm going to start spending my fuel collecting these tokens to be able to do different things. And he had this progression of like understanding, and his points jumped up 20 points in the next game. And I've liked this game a lot, and part of it is because it's a game that he loves, and we're really connecting on it. But I also think that this is a game that I would happily play with either of you. And I think that or our game groups, I think this would be a perfect game for like a big game night. It plays in like 60 minutes max.
It kind of falls in that same category of the game I just talked about, where it's a shorter play, simple concepts, but enough strategy there that it keeps it engaging, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It looks fun.
Yeah, it does look fun.
I've had a lot of fun with it. There is a little variant in the box that allows you to have asymmetry actions for each of your spaceships, and then each player board is double-sided. And one side is a generic, everybody has that side, and then the other one is kind of an asymmetric player board that everybody can kind of have their own style of play. So it's been fun to see the different ways that we can play.
Have you tried it solo?
No, I haven't even tried it solo because my son's wanted to play it every single time I pulled it out. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a better way to play.
It says ages 12 plus, so kudos to him for grokking
well, it says 10 plus on the box.
Oh, does it?
Does BGG
says 12 plus, so he's minus 3 to 5 years. On where
now,
he should be.
I would actually say that this one is probably most 7 and 8 year olds would probably struggle with this, but because I've been leading my son into more and more complex games, I think he's been able to get this one a little bit quicker. But I don't think I probably wouldn't introduce this to any of my friends' kids as the game that they're going to play that are the same age as my son. I would introduce it to your kids potentially of the same ages, but outside of that, 10 plus sounds about right on the box.
Okay. Well, it looks fun and clean. I don't know. It just looks like a fun little game to play with some intriguing puzzles to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. I think.
And who doesn't love space exploration?
Yeah,
I love space games.
Yeah,
they're great. Not all of them, but I like them.
Yeah, it's a theme I love. This was Space Bureau.
That was a Dune Imperium dig, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it is now.
The one I don't like is Dune Imperium. You're right.
I knew it.
You got it. Yeah, you caught me. I hate that game. Well, I've also been playing some games with my family, and this is one of them. I talked about fives in the last episode. This is another game in the Magenta series. Do you guys? I mentioned sunglasses. Do you guys need to put your sunglasses on?
Tyler did not come to that conversation. I know he's listened to the podcast since then.
It's
but
bright pink.
But there is a lot of brightness in this one, and you didn't get to see the visual here. You can look at this game now, Tyler, and realize how we're not joking. This is pink.
It is bright. Magenta. It's magenta.
The rules are in bright pink too.
Yeah, and I didn't mention this. Okay, I'm going to mention it now. So I talked about fives before. Figment is another in the Magenta series from CMYK. They're nice enough to send us review copies. The games are great, but the rules are. I mean, there's so much pink in these rules, and even I'm showing one page, and this is step 1 of the rules. It's a full page that's completely pink with a 1 in the middle, and then you go over to the rules, and all the lettering is in pink, which it's a little bit hard to read. And then it gets really small.
They're really sticking with that theme, though.
They are the pink and the white. That's just
yeah, and it's a little bit hard. I mean, completely functional. The rules, they're good. They're easy to understand. Maybe just a little bit hard to read.
Unless that's the color blindness color that you happen to not see.
I wonder how.
If you were colorblind, it's just blank pages. That's all it is. Yeah, that would be horrible if that was the case.
Put on polarized glasses, how would that rule book look? It'd be interesting to find that out.
Well, we need to do some digging here and see what happens there. Yeah. Okay, back to the game. So Figment. Figment it's a re-implementation of a game called Illusion. Okay. This game is
Michael.
I knew it. All right. Anyway, so this game is designed by Wolfgang Warsch. You guys recognize that?
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Yeah. What games has he designed?
Oh, one of the greatest bag builders
say
ever.
that.
There you go.
Don't say
There you go. Quacks of Quedlinburg.
That's so clever.
That's so clever.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
The Mind.
The Mind, yeah.
So he's got some great games under his belt. I think this is a really fun game as well. So the way it works is you have there's four different colors, okay? And you have a number of cards with a massive arrow on them, and you shuffle all those cards together, and you flip over one of those, and it will reveal a color. So I just did it, and it revealed teal. Okay. Then you have a huge stack of cards that incorporate all of those colors into the cards. All right. So you're going to take a card, put it in the row. It will reveal another card in the stack. And then what you have to do is, I see you, Tyler, this is hilarious, right? Because he's squinting already. So I'll talk about this a little later. Okay. So teal. Now you have to decide this next card that's flipped over. Does it have more or less teal than the card that was previously placed, percentage wise on the card? Okay. So I'm looking at this card. Clearly, I think it has more teal.
Collectively as a group, we're making that decision.
This is a cooperative game. Yes. So collectively as a group, you're making that decision. Flip over another card. Okay. How much teal does that have? Is it more or less than the cards that I've already placed? You determine where it goes in that row. It can go in between the cards that you've placed or after the cards you've placed.
And these cards have abstract different art on them.
Yep.
With like lines and shapes and different
lines,
colors.
shapes, and create all kinds of different things, right? Okay, so I'm on my fourth card. I'm actually playing it here because it's super easy. I'm on my fourth card. How much teal does that one have in it? It doesn't look like a whole lot, but it's probably more than the first card. So I've got 4 cards in a line right now. I turn over the 5th card. You're going to turn over 5 cards. And clearly, I think...
I know the answer to this one.
This one's going to be the most, right? That's what I think. We're all collectively doing this. Okay, now you have a choice. You've got 5 tokens, and you're going to say, okay, how confident am I that from lowest to highest, percentage-wise, am I correct in this line? Mm-hmm. And I can go, okay, I'm pretty confident. I'm going to place my 5 token down. And now you choose one side of a line to start flipping over. I'm going to choose the left. I'm going to flip it over. Okay, 3% of that one had teal. Feeling pretty good about myself. Flip over the next one. I already failed because only 1% of the second one had teal. Okay.
The backs of these cards have all the different colors and the total percentage of that picture on the front of the card with what percentage they're in. Correct.
But let's say I got that right. I flip over the third card. It says 4% of that card. So I got that right. I flip over the next card. It says 14%. The last card says 35%. Okay. If you get all of those right, that token that you placed to start, you get that. Plus you get all of the cards that you were correct on before you messed up. Or if you didn't mess up, you get all of those cards. All right. You play 5 rounds and you're trying to get the most points, right? So you're getting points from cards you get correct and the tokens. And if you get, I think, to 25, that is a bronze. If you get to 30, that's a silver. 35 is a gold. You're basically trying to beat your high score. Okay.
Before you reveal your experiences with this, I have to say that this game makes me feel incredibly stupid in terms of, like, I am very bad at this, so I don't know how you get to bronze, silver, or gold.
I have never gotten to bronze, and I've played this, I think, 4 times is all. It is really exciting, though, when you're right. When you flip over all those cards, especially there's cards where you can tie. And if you flip over all of them, the last card you flip over is always exciting, and then everybody cheers if you do it right. I haven't had that experience a whole lot, but when it does happen, it's really cool and it's really fun.
Maybe that's why it's so exciting, because it's so rare for you.
Yeah,
the cards are a little trippy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think this would do really well in dispensaries in Colorado.
Oh, wow. Well, because then the pictures are moving at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean...
It gives you the Meow Wolf experience. Do you know Meow Wolf?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I've never been there, but I know of it.
It's a trippy, like, it's an area that they have all sorts of psychedelic experiences. I imagine that if you go in there on acid, it's the craziest experience you've ever had. It's like a Pink Floyd laser light show on steroids.
Okay, good. Well, good information. Thank you.
That's what these cards feel like to me.
Oh, you did actually. Yeah.
That's what the cards feel like to me. Is they're like
Yeah.
a Pink Floyd laser light show.
Well, and we were at Ben's house. Ben has really good lighting in his basement.
Yes.
And these cards were like glowing. It seemed like, especially the magenta on them, right? And it was kind of, it got difficult to that's probably by design, right? Because it got difficult to say how much of this is this and how these lines, if I made those into a ball, does it equal that over there? And
I found myself squinting a lot to see.
I squinting, and a couple of them almost triggered an almost like trypophobia uneasiness reaction.
oh, yeah.
to it.
Okay. I could see
I was a little
that.
worried about
Yeah.
what card was coming up next when you were flipping through them.
Okay. Let's see. Let's just pick one. Oh, there it is. There it is.
It is a trypophobia one.
I don't like that card.
Yeah.
I've played this with my 7-year-old. We've had a blast with it. My 18-year-old was eating lunch and she came over. It's just such a casual game that somebody could just come over and start looking at it and say, "No, I think that one has more," and then walk away. It's not a heavy game by any means, but I've had fun with it.
It's definitely illusionary.
It is.
Yeah, it's got that kind of a vibe to it. But Kevin, you also mentioned that it is a casual game. I have to say it's a activity more than it's a game, and I usually don't get hung up on that kind of differentiation. It like it's a game if you want to have an experience, but like I'm so bad at this, like that I just found myself being like, I'm gonna enjoy watching what you guys decide because I have no input on this. But I enjoyed that as the activity still, even though I'm like I don't have an answer.
There is decisions, right? You're making choices.
Activities
and you're,
have decisions.
You're betting on.
Would it be less of activity?
And there's strategy too. There is some strategy on the point tokens.
Yes, I would.
So
I definitely give you that.
I would lean more towards activity as well, but yes.
Would it be less of an activity if you were playing competitively?
I think so.
If you all had your own stack of point tokens.
That's interesting you say that because I think the original Illusion is a competitive game. And I read a forum post and the designer actually commented on it and said, well, when we were coming out with this version, everybody wanted to play cooperatively. So they didn't include the competitive. I kind of wish they would have included both options.
I do too.
Right? Because then you could choose to play it cooperative or you could choose to play it competitive.
And then it is a
right?
game because if you're all looking at the same thing and not conferring with each other to cooperatively come to our conclusion, and then you put your bets in where that token comes in, right? You're putting those bets in, then that is absolutely a game to me. It's like who did the best at this.
Sure.
And that but I don't know. A part of the fun of the game is that collaboration of
yes.
How do I
the excitement?
Are we agreeing?
Yes.
And then when we're right, the highs are really high because we did it.
And it's always fun saying, "Whatever, Ben, you wanted it there and it was wrong."
Blaming somebody,
blaming people when you get it wrong is always fun too. But yeah, I think it's fun. It's a fun game, and I'm glad we got it. I think I'll be playing it some more with my family for
Nice.
sure. So
Thanks for sharing that.
That's Figment.
Very pink.
The game does glow. Yeah, it's very, very.
I didn't realize until just a minute ago that it was a re-implementation of Illusion. Maybe you said that at the start, but
I did say that the first thing I said, I believe.
yeah,
Try
I
to
was
keep
still
up, Tyler.
thinking as
but you were just so distracted.
illusions.
You were blinded by the pink was distracting.
Yes.
That
that's
and the Arrested Development reference.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize that Illusion was by Wolfgang Warsch. So that's cool.
It is.
Do you guys have that one at all? Anybody? Anybody played it?
Played what?
Illusions.
Have not played Illusion. No.
All right, does that wrap up the games that we've been playing lately?
It does.
Yeah, let's jump into our top 5. All right. Top 5 games that surprised us.
For my first top 5 games that surprised me, that I didn't think I was going to necessarily like this game. The reason this one's on my list is because looking at this game, it was not something I expected to enjoy. It was by a designer that I really liked, so I was maybe optimistic, and that's why I wanted to play it. But I don't know. Designer is Vladimir Suhi, designed by Delicious Games. We've talked about this one recently. It's Resafa.
Resafa. Okay.
I put this one on my list.
How could you put a Suhi game on?
Because it didn't look like any of the games before. Like I didn't think the presentation was as good. I was not excited about it. There was nothing at first glance that even looked exciting to me mechanically.
Okay.
And even when we started playing it, like the surprise even lasted through part of my first play of the game, right?
Yeah, okay.
Like as I'm playing the game, I was like, this is just okay. And then suddenly it clicked for me partway through the game that, whoa, there is some innovative stuff going on with how these cards are happening, how your action selection, upgrading your cards, being able to combo off of the color cards and be able to do a bunch of things. So, like, to me, yes, I love Suhi, right?
I would never put a Suhi game. Me personally, that I would be surprised about it because I go into every game thinking, oh, this is going to be great. It's a lot of Suhi. But yes, that's just me.
I feel like at some point he's got to miss, right?
Well, there's got to be a dud in there somewhere, but he hasn't disappointed yet.
No, I haven't had that experience, but I was like hedging my bets thinking
this one's going to suck.
This one's going to be the one that sucks. It doesn't look as good to me. I can't see anything mechanically that stands out. So for me, my number 5 was Resafa.
Got it. All right. My number 5, this was a game that was sent to us from GMT. And it is a Gest of Robin Hood.
I can't believe that I didn't even think of that one on my list.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit leery of GMT games, right? Mainly because I've heard of the coin game system. It's a very difficult, asymmetric system to learn.
Thick rule books.
And the kind of an intimidating thing, right? So I had low expectations on a Gest of Robin Hood. When it came in, I was drawn to the theme. Robin Hood is a great theme, and I was hoping the game would be good. I was blown away the first time we played it about the theme, how the theme was integrated, the story that unfolded, the asymmetric abilities, how you have to play differently between Robin Hood and the sheriff of Nottingham. It just blew me away, and it was so much fun. And then it came to BGA shortly thereafter, and we started playing there, which was super fun. It exceeded my expectations, and it was a lot better than I imagined that it would be. So that's my number 5.
Totally agree.
Gest of Robin Hood. Yeah.
All right, so my number 5. I've been playing a lot of games with my little guy lately. He's 4. This was a game that we got as a review copy last year, and it's from Cosmos, and it is Dodo. And you build this big 3D cardboard tower with plastic components on top, and there's a wobbly egg that rolls down, and slowly it falls out, and you're playing as the islanders. You're trying to build bridges around this tower and save the egg by building bridges all the way down to the bottom where a boat can catch it. Okay? To save the dodo species. Otherwise, they all die, and this is the last egg. I don't know. Anyway.
Does that say that in the rules?
No, I
is
don't.
this a waking dragon?
You are trying to.
This is a dragon eating the children story.
You're trying to save the egg. I don't know if this is the last dodo or not. I can't remember. But just the experiences that this created surprised me, blew me away. I love playing this with my little guy. And he just eats it up. And basically you roll a die, and there's a bunch of face down tokens, and you're trying to flip over a token that matches whatever you rolled on the die. And if you do that or flip over an islander, then you get to fill in a spot. Each bridge and the boat require a certain number of tokens filled in to be able to add them to the tower in time. It just creates some really exciting moments. The gameplay is nothing revolutionary. It's a kid's game, but I was really surprised by the fun and experiences that we've had with this. And there are varying levels of difficulty. You can play with the skeletons, where you have to fill in the skeleton tokens that are on each bridge and to get the boat out, as well as you can also remove all of the Islanders tokens from the pile. So love this game, had a blast with it, really surprised by it, had zero expectations for it. That is Dodo from Cosmos.
So similarly, a game I had zero expectations for. And it's going to sound like with Resafa and this one, I'm doing a don't judge a book by its cover kind of a thing. And that's exactly what happened here. I judged this by its cover. The game I have for my number 4 is Bunny Kingdom.
Okay.
This is a game designed by Richard Garfield. Again, he's Richard Garfield, right? He
Why
designed
did you doubt?
Why did I doubt this, right? Yeah. But again, Vladimir Suhi, Richard Garfield. I'm judging the book by the cover, not by the designer of the game, right? Yeah, okay. It was published by Yellow Games, and they did also, like, right before this, King of Tokyo, King of New York, all that, right? And I was familiar with them at the time by those games. But this game just didn't look exciting to me. On the front of this box it's a Bunny Kingdom is the title. So again, I'm not that excited by it. And it looks like a bunch of bunnies in armor. And so I was like, this isn't
awesome, right? No.
What is this, Watership Down? Like Redwall? Come on, I don't need any of that. Like, but it was done in like kitty artwork that didn't feel like Watership Down or Redwall that excited me necessarily. But I liked, or I wasn't even going to play it. Somebody brought this up and was like, you've got to try this game. I was like, I don't know that I really want to. And they put it on the table and set it up. All this game is it's a drafting game with area control. Everybody gets cards, and on those cards, there are numbers associated to a grid pattern on the board. And you're trying to deploy your bunnies in a way to get area control with contiguous like connections of your bunnies on the board. It's very simple game. There's not a lot to like going on here, and it plays within like 40 to 60 minutes. So it's a pretty quick game, but I played it. The drafting became essential, and this was, I feel, at a time where drafting was all the rage in board games, and everybody was doing drafting. And whenever I heard drafting, I was like, that's not that exciting to me. But this was just so simple. It was drafting and area control. That's all your focus is, and it did both of those things really well. So that's my number 4, Bunny Kingdom.
Nice. My number 4 is a game that I picked up at Gen Con the last time I was at Gen Con. And that is Inside Job. So I knew it was a trick-taking game. I knew I liked trick-taking games. I knew it's like a semi-cooperative with an insider. I'm like, well, how good could that be, right? We played it, like, I remember the first 2 times we played it, and we're like, holy cow, how did nobody think of this before? Yeah. This is absolutely amazing. And the game just blew me away. And that was just the base game. And then we started throwing in the different roles and stuff. And whoa, it just kind of blew my mind how the game worked. And it was just amazing. I played it with my family. They absolutely love it. It's fun being the insider. It's fun trying to figure out who the insider is. It's fun when you're the insider trying to sabotage missions, but not do it in a way that outs you and makes it so everybody knows who you are, right? I just think it's a super well-designed game and absolutely love it.
I'm not surprised that this one is on your list.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that it's on your list, but it would never have made my surprise list because it was trick-taking and social deduction combination. And I was like, that's it. That's what I wanted. And the fact that you guys like it, that was the surprise to me.
That's the thing. It's like a game that's right up your alley, right? Yeah. And it's the game that's not necessarily up my alley. But it's fun every time I play, So
yeah, this should have been on my list.
Yeah?
I missed this one. I'm sad we don't get this to the table more. It's been a while since we have played this.
I've gotten it out, and I play... I've been playing more games with the youth in my area, and this is one that I always get out. And if it's a good player count, then I'm considering playing it with them because I just think I think they just eat it up, right?
Yeah.
So, great game, designed by Tanner Simmons and published by Cosmos. Inside Job, my number 4.
I would be remiss to not list this game as my number 4. Going back to Tyson's comment about don't judge a book by its cover type thing.
Yeah.
This could go to 2 potential games. Which one do you think I'm going with?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Oh, like terrible box art. Yeah. Well, it's not going to be Hansa Teutonica. Maybe it is Hansa Teutonica.
I like Hansa.
Yeah, but you've never been super big on that one.
Killer Bunnies.
The art is fantastic on that one.
That surprised me how bad it was.
Shut it. Trois.
Oh, Trois. Yeah, Trois.
Art's terrible, right?
Yeah, but
Kevin likes the
I
art.
kind of like the art, but the other one, the
Golden
Golden
Ages.
Ages. Oh my gosh,
By that same artist.
by the same
yeah.
artist. I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't seem like it's the same artist, but yeah, Trois.
We need more Trois in our lives.
Let's get a game. Well, the game on the BGA implementation is not great.
Not great. This is a game where you roll dice at the beginning of the turn. You're in this city. You're contributing to the cathedral. You're contributing to different things. There are bonus cards that give you huge rewards, and you can combo those to score mega points. There's also invaders attacking that you have to semi-cooperatively fend off. Otherwise, bad things are happening. You can steal dice from other players, pay them money for their dice, which doesn't feel great sometimes. But this game, it's just super unique of an experience. I don't know that I've ever played anything like it. It's a little bit of a longer game, but the box art is not my favorite. I was surprised
acquired
by how
taste.
good this game was back in the
Yeah.
day. And I haven't gone back to it too much. We've played it a few times. We played it a bunch on BGA, but I have not played this on the table forever. I have the expansion still in shrink wrap. I'd probably just sell it at
ladies.
this point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good expansion. That purple die is great.
Yeah, but I could get a purple die from anywhere, right?
Touche. You probably have one already. But it adds other things. You go around the walls on the outside.
Yeah,
and
that's
there's
a little bit.
But I agree. The base game is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4, Trois.
Love Trois. Great choice.
Well, you judged that book by its cover. This is one the first one I have not judged by its cover. It's not the cover that
Beautiful
told me-
cover.
It's a good cover. I like it. It's fine. I wouldn't say it's the greatest cover, but
Okay.
it's not the cover that deterred me at all.
Oh, okay.
This one, I didn't think I would enjoy this game based off of the theme of this game. We've talked about this game a lot. It's a game I've got 16 plays of. It's designed by Dave Beck, published by Paverson Game. It's Distilled.
Okay.
Distilled is a game that
Could have also been on my list.
I looked at and I said, yeah.
Only
I'm never
because of
gonna
the
play that.
theme for
right.
me. But
Like, I wouldn't have picked this game up myself, right? Like, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to try that. If somebody had invited me to play it, I probably would have said, okay, yeah. But since he was kind enough to send us a copy of it, we played it, and I played it both solo and then, like, together, and I was blown away by this.
It's awesome.
In particular, I think the solo mode, Kevin, you talked about Aldebaran Duel, right, and how efficient last episode that solo mode was.
Right.
As you were talking about that in that last episode, I couldn't help but think of Distilled, because I was like,
Yeah,
that's
it's very
exactly it.
streamlined, right?
Streamlined, no maintenance. It's great. That's how I felt about this game for the solo, and then playing it with other people, it's a lot of fun, and I keep coming back to this game. So to me, I wouldn't like. I'm not into distilling. I'm not into fine spirits of any sort. So, like, to me, I wasn't gonna be interested in this. But so glad I did. I love this game. I think it's great.
yeah, it's fantastic. And there's a big box expansion, crowdfunding coming soon.
Yeah.
And the existing expansions are great. There's a little mini one.
I
and
like. Yeah, it upgrades some of the existing ingredient cards, and it adds some different changes to it, like one type of ingredient then can be used as any fruit or any sugar, and really good. I like this game. It's great.
Nice.
It's Distilled.
Good choice. Good choice. I like that one as well. This one, based on the name alone, didn't draw me in when I first heard about it. It's designed by Seiji Kanai
Oh, I know what this is.
and
think
published by AAG.
Yep.
Yep. This is Love Letter. Love Letter. Yes. So Love Letter Batman. Those two things together. I remember when I first picked up this game, I'm like, Love Letter Batman. That's just such a weird combination. Why would that even be a thing? But holy cow, was I surprised by this game. It's such a small deck of cards that you're playing with. And the enjoyment that I've gotten out of that small deck of cards, we played that game so much. Luckily I sleeved it because it would be worn out 10 times over by this time.
Mine's worn out.
Yours is worn out.
Before I sleeved it.
Yep.
My copy is wearing out of Love Letter.
Yeah. And it's just so much fun. Love Letter Batman, you're trying to get 7 Batman tokens. And this is, I think my favorite probably is Lovecraft Letter, but this is my second favorite. Just because of the tension when people are close to getting the 7. And I've seen so many times where somebody comes back and gets the victory. Well, last time I played, I was sitting at 6 for like 2 or 3 rounds. Another person was sitting at 6 for 2 or 3 rounds. And then somebody got 3 tokens in the last round and sniped the victory from us. And it was just fun and exciting. And there was cheering around the table. It was just such a fun experience. And that experience has happened a ton with Batman Love Letter. It does so much with so little that it definitely surprised me. So that's my number 3.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. I love the Star Wars one.
Star Wars one is great too. Yeah.
The Hobbit one's great. The last time we played Lovecraft Letter, it was very satisfying to win with Cthulhu, the game outright.
I hated that.
I think Tyson made me discard Cthulhu, and I had 2 insanity cards in front of me already, and that's right. An automatic win. I don't think I had even won a round up to that point, maybe one, and I don't know. Lovecraft. Awesome. That's the one I thought you were going to say, but it makes sense because I know Batman was the one you were first.
That's when I was first exposed to it. Like I knew I had a good idea that I was going to like Lovecraft Letter because I knew I liked the system, right? Yeah, so Batman came first. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love the system. It's awesome. I love that.
Yep.
That's a good pick. What are we? Number 3?
Yep.
My number 3 is a game. I played this game like a year or 2 ago on BGA and it didn't do anything for me. However, then we started playing it on the table, I think maybe at Cabin Con, Pixies. And playing it around the table is awesome.
It's a different experience.
Yeah, so it's a little card game. It's designed by Johannes Goopy. Sorry, Johannes.
Sorry, yeah.
The artist is Sylvain Trabout. And the art is these creatures in terrain that are made out of like acorns with
googly eyes
and stuff on them. And
the art's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And
it's so unique.
It's unique.
Very least.
It reminds me a lot of Sea Salt and Paper, how that has a unique art style, right? Mm-hmm. I would have thought it would have even been the same person potentially. But Pixies, basically, there's cards in a deck that range in value from 1 through 9. It's a drafting game where you draft in turn order. And if you take the 9 card, it's going to go in your tableau of cards that is 3x3. The 9 card is in the bottom right corner. Okay. And then the 1 is in the top left. And it goes in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you're trying to double up cards in a spot. You only score that 9 if you have another 9 there or another face down card underneath it. You'll get 9 points for that. You're also trying to score connected colors. You score points per round based on the number of the same color of cards that are adjacent to each other. There's also other cards that you score 1 point per every yellow card or every green card or whatever. So it's just a fun little game. I was not that interested in it. Playing it on BGA, it was fun, but it just came to life and really surprised me when we started playing around the table. The table talk, it was late night, so
could have been slap happy.
It was slap happy, but the strategy kind of came out, and the hate drafting was fantastic, and not in a frustrating or.
It was like, that makes sense.
That's the right decision.
That's the right decision.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So just love the expectation or the excitement of flipping over the cards for the draft when it's your turn to pick first. That's really exciting, and it can be awesome, or it can be like a total dud because then you're not picking first for a few turns, and the cards you had the option to draft from were terrible, but just some really fun moments. So that is my number 3, Pixies.
Great choice.
I love it. That's a great
I
game.
love that one. My number 2 is a small box game, similar in size to Pixies, but I think more complex in the game. The number 2 game for me is Seers Catalog, published by Bezier Games and designed
I'm never going to play this game.
by Taylor Reiner. You bring that up. That's part of the surprise here for me, right? Like, there's multiple surprises. At first, I was surprised because I was like, why is this a game? Like, this is... I don't like this. And then I was surprised because I was like, no, I like this game. Why do I like this? Because the game is a small box, but it is very complex. It's a card shedding game, and you're basically trying to get rid of cards and not have the most points in the game. And you each it's trick-taking-esque in some regards, but everybody has unique cards as well in their hands that have like asymmetric powers that can do different things and just completely screw up everything in the play that you're doing. And so it makes things really confusing. And the first time that we played it, we were looking in that rule book like every 5 seconds to figure out, wait, how does this interaction work? What does it do? How does it play? But by the time we had figured it out, it was like, okay, this is really cool. It's really interesting what they're doing with this game. I mean, Kevin, you joke about you're never going to get this played. At this point, I'm going to have to relearn the whole game because I haven't played it recently enough to solidify it.
All right, cool. Starting over.
But let's play it.
Each card is worth -1, but if you have 5 or fewer cards in your hand, the lowest value on those cards is worth positive points.
That's right.
Yeah.
The crap.
Yeah. It takes some time
Wrapping your head around?
Yeah, we're going to have to rewrap our heads around this because
all right, well, let's get it
it's
out.
worth playing again. It's a great little game, and it's...
but the learning curve for such a small box is high, which, again, was another surprise for me in this game. So this game was full of surprises for me. Like, everything about this game was surprising.
Oh, that's funny.
I was surprised to not like it. Then I was surprised to like it. Then I was surprised that I understood it. Like, it was a hard game to figure out.
I'm a little surprised that one of the other trick-taking from Bezier didn't fill the slot on your top 5 lists. There are a couple of other good ones.
There are.
Not on my list.
Who's to say it didn't? But at the same time, this one had the most surprises in a single play of it, I think.
I'm thinking specifically of Rebel Princesses and Xylotar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love those games. I don't know that I was surprised by it. Trick takers don't often surprise me that I like trick takers because I usually like trick takers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like that.
When
this
I heard
was
about
surprising to me.
Rebel Princess, that was like hearts with abilities. I'm like, okay,
I'm interested.
I'm probably gonna like.
I already know I like hearts, right?
Yeah. Xylotar was more of
a little bit more of a surprise. Yeah,
yeah. I didn't know anything about it though.
Yeah,
which I guess is a surprise.
It's getting an expansion. Surprise,
right? Oh yeah,
that's exciting. I'm excited for that.
That is awesome.
But yeah, that is my number 2, Seers Catalog.
My number 2, I think I first saw this one at Origins. I did a quick demo. You just can't get the feel for a game in a demo. I'm like, well, it seems like maybe it's doing something interesting. Then I saw the game 50% off at Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. You know, I didn't have very high expectations for it. This one is designed by Richard Yaner and published by Grand Gamers Guild, and it is Gorinto. This game has been so much fun to play. So the way it works is you've got this grid, and you put these tiles that annoyingly stick together. That's one of the things I gripes I have about the game. But they come in one of 4 different colors, and they're wind, fire, rain, earth, I think is what the different tile types are. And then you have tiles on the outside, and you take one of the outside tiles and you place it on the inside grid on top of another tile. And depending on what you place is tiles that you take around it. So it can be orthogonally adjacent tiles or diagonally adjacent tiles, or the earth tiles you can, take tiles from the stack itself. Okay. And you get a number of tiles based on how many of those types of tiles you've previously collected. Okay. And the whole goal of the game, what you're trying to do is there's scoring cards at the end of each round that say things like you score points for each stack that is the same height of these element tiles, or you score your lowest stack that's tied with another stack, those types of things. So you're trying to get tiles that match up with the scoring cards. And then there are other cards that say these two elements are going to score you points at the end of the game. You're trying to collect those elements while everybody else is trying to collect those as well. It's just a really fun, entertaining puzzle to try to figure out. And, I didn't have high expectations for it, but every time I played it, it's just been a blast to play.
Yeah, it's a great little abstract game.
Yeah, great little abstract. So
I thought you were going to say Tiny Towns for a second, but
again, going the other way.
Yeah, this is a surprise.
Surprise! This game sucks.
These are great.
They both have 4x4 grids.
They do well. The Gorinto is more than 4x4.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
whatever.
bigger. So they're not even close. But
I like this one.
Yeah,
You brought this to game night, and we started playing it, and it just is really fun. I love the different cards that come out, the different scoring goals that you're going for.
Yeah.
It just changes it up enough. This is a great abstract family weight game.
yeah. It's the variability is pretty cool. So my number, we're on 2, right?
That's right.
Gorinto.
My number 2 is a legacy game. This one we talked about in episode 58, Divinus. I backed this, I crowdfunded it. They also sent us a review copy. But I played with Logan 12 games in a 10-day span. I just checked my plays. We played through the whole campaign. I had mixed expectations about this. Not overwhelming. It was just one I was like, oh, that looks cool. And I like Lucky Duck games. I like their app integration generally. And they're always doing interesting things. So I backed this. It's Greek gods versus Norse gods. And you're trying to appease the gods and you're trying to complete missions. It's a tile laying game. It's a dice rolling game where you roll dice on one of your turns, and then over the next few turns, you get to spend those dice by buying a tile and then adding it to your tableau. And you can combo those dice values like 6 and a 3. I can use that as a 9, or I can use it with a 2 and make it an 11, right? So you're adding and subtracting the dice to get a tile in that number slot and then add it to your tableau. It's a legacy game, campaign game, where there's a story. You're constantly adding stickers to the tiles, to the dice. I loved this experience. I can't wait to go back to some of the expansion stuff that we haven't played yet. The gameplay was simple. It was fun, and each game was different enough with different rules or different goals or different things going on. And the thing that surprises me most is that you hear nothing about this. There's nothing.
Not a lot of hype.
Not a lot of hype. It's not ranked high on BGG. It doesn't even have a good rating. I would say shows as a 6.8. I loved this game. I thought it was fantastic. So I'm really surprised that there's been crickets about it. It was designed by Philip Malunsky, like I said, published by Lucky Duck Games, app integration, and following this storyline. We had an absolute blast with this. And it was I would put it right up there with my other legacy game experiences. It was definitely a great legacy experience for us. And
nice.
That is my number 2, Divinus.
Nice. Number ones now.
So now we're at our number ones, right? These are number ones of the games that surprised us the most. I also chose a dice game, like Tyler's was just a dice game, except this is, Splitter. Splitter is my number one most surprising game that I like.
Okay.
It is designed by Stefan Nikolic and published by Pandasaurus Games. I looked at this game, right? I see dice on the box cover.
Yep.
I see a pencil on the box cover,
Yep.
and I see numbers. Or, sorry, not a pencil, but it looks like, right, I see dice
It's splitting
and a split, right?
Yeah.
Like a highlighted split on the box cover. I look at this and I say, this looks like who made this? Like, why would I want to play that game?
Yet
right?
another roll and write game, right?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
an already crowded field of roll and writes. Like, how could this be good?
It's a roll and write game that you didn't even put any like thought into theming this game. Like, there's no theme. There's not even a tacked on theme. Splitter, because there's a split down the center.
Yeah.
This seems absurd to me, right?
Make it about space or something.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Come on, make it like a divide, like a chasm. Make it something interesting. No, there's no theme, because this game is good enough that it doesn't need any theme. It stands on its own as being a quality level roll and write game that like all you're doing is writing the numbers in like mirrored positions on your sheet, and you're trying to figure it out. But the tension in this game,
Especially towards the end.
end, is so high, especially when you're playing this at the table and everybody has the same decisions to some extent, but have put themselves in different positions where it's like, no, I want you to roll a 6. No, please don't roll that 6. That 6 would be terrible, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like, it's fun to have that experience. I was not anticipating any sort of reaction to this game, which is why it's the most surprising to me.
Well, so this was a review copy from Pandasaurus,
Yes.
right? It came in an envelope. The box was destroyed.
Yes.
Like I opened up the package and it just kind of fell out, and I'm like, yeah. Based on that experience, I really had no expectations of this being good at all.
I got the
but
feeling,
it was awesome, and I absolutely loved the game.
and you passed it off to me to like in that same envelope and stuff. And
I took a few of the sheets and laminated
Yeah.
them, so we've got our own copy too now, and
But, like,
it's awesome.
It is.
like what it said to me was, and I'm sure this was not Pandasaurus' intention, but I saw that packaging and I was like, well, they thought that we're a lame podcast that nobody's ever heard of. Right?
They're giving us the bottom of the
They're
barrel.
like,
We
well,
used
these
this
guys
one as a doorstop for a while.
these guys asked for something. Let's see what we can scrounge up and give them, right?
Yeah.
But no, it was like, this is actually one of the better review copies of things that we've ever received.
Yeah, I
Thank you for
agree.
sending it to me. I don't care what shape it's in.
Oh, I don't care either.
Like,
I just
it's
had
fantastic.
I just had zero expectations that it would actually be good.
Yeah, same. But no, that's why Splitter is my number one most surprising game.
Yeah. So my number one most surprising game is also a roll and write, and it just so happens to be Splitter.
Are you kidding?
No, that's exactly
awesome.
That's exactly the game that I chose as my number one surprise game. And
That's perfect.
Yeah, for all the reasons that we just talked about. We don't need to rehash it, right?
Yeah.
It was it's a great game, and it completely surprised me that it's such a great game. So that's my number one as well. It's Splitter.
I didn't think we were going to get any overlap there. And then
The fact that it's Splitter and
Yeah,
it's our number
that's
one,
kind of
hilarious.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Now, if it's yours, Tyler, as well, I don't know.
he's switching it right now.
Maybe we just stop the podcast altogether. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah, no, mine's from a recent game that I've played, and we feature reviewed this a few episodes ago. Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Oh gosh, yeah. So surprised.
With the design pedigree, I didn't have a lot of expectation going in this. I know Kevin likes Dominion, but
Dominion and Kingdom Builder are fantastic, but it's been so long since those came out.
Yeah.
Right? He hasn't done much.
and I say that
in
in
between
complete
then.
jest.
Yeah.
The pedigree is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we got together. It was just you and I.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't played games with anybody except my family forever, and I was exhausted. And I was just like, okay, well, yeah, let's play this.
Yeah,
All right.
whatever. It looks weird, but let's play it.
Yeah. What is going on with this cover?
Talk about low expectations
Yeah.
from the art, right?
Yeah. And then we started playing it, and like within halfway through the first round,
Yeah.
or going through the deck for the first time, I was just like, this game is awesome.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
blown away by it. I had mentioned this. I already mentioned this when we did the feature review. We immediately played it again right
Yes,
away. And I
absolutely.
can't remember the last time that a game did that for me, where we play it and not just a short, quick 5-10 minute game, but we play a the main course of the night, and I immediately want to play it again, and we did, and it's fantastic. I love this game. I've played it solo now. I had a lot of fun playing it solo. I just want more content for this.
Already.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not that it isn't a full game already, but I just see so much potential for content. But I was, based on the whole cover, I was surprised by just how amazing this game is. And I
agree.
I hope that we get more content.
This was on my short list. Like, I wanted to talk about this one, so I'm glad it's on your list. But the reason why it was surprising for me, all the same reasons that you brought up, Tyler, but also I remember Kevin got review copies delivered to his house from Rio Grande Games, and there were several games there. I remember him taking a picture and sending them to us, looking at the picture and being like, "Oh, there's some cool games there." And then later he says something about Moon Colony Bloodbath, and I was like, "When did you get that? Where was that? I didn't even see it." He's
holding out on us.
I ignored it entirely, and then you guys are talking about you played it back to back, and I was like, yeah, I had no concept that was even the thing because of how bland the cover seemed to be, and how it just didn't have any staying power in my mind.
But now, after playing it and seeing all the cards and seeing the flavor text, it has its own charm with that art and everything. It's just perfect for the game, like we've talked about before.
It's awesome.
Definitely was surprised.
And I still haven't even seen all the robots. I think I'm getting close.
Yeah, right. The twists, probably haven't seen all those yet.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe a few that I'm still missing out, but I don't know. It's a fantastic game. I just want more content for it at this point.
Yeah. And I think though, I'm get 20, 30 plays in. I maybe by that point I'll be like,
I need it now.
I need expansions now, but now I don't feel like I need expansions. It'll get there.
Yeah.
But I think it's great as is, but.
And I loved playing this solo. I got it out and was playing within like 3 minutes. There's only like one or two rule differences, and that's it. And it's one thing. It's not like one thing every turn, right?
Yeah.
And so I played it in like 20, 25 minutes. It was a quick play. I would happily play this solo and knock it out again and again and again.
I also love that we have introduced this game to a number of our game group friends and played it on big game nights and and introduced it, and almost without fail, I don't think there's anybody who we've played it with that wasn't like, this is a great game.
There's one.
Did Leo not like this? Or?
No. It's with your friend that came. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. One of my former coworkers,
yes.
Dave.
Dave. Yeah. He said he didn't like it a whole lot, but
yeah,
that's true.
He's kind of an odd cat, though.
Yeah, but almost everybody else has just loved it.
Yeah,
so it's my staple now for big game night.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be playing it on this table any chance I can get.
Yeah.
So yeah. For sure.
So that's
good choice.
That's my number one, Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Love it.
Was there any surprises on anybody's lists?
I was surprised that Tyson and I got the same number one.
I was legitimately surprised by that.
How did that happen? Of all the games to choose, right?
Were you guys surprised that Gorus Maximus wasn't on my list?
And you're so surprised.
Oh, yeah, completely. Yeah. As a surprise as tiny towns for me.
Yeah.
Right?
It is funny to think about, and we didn't want to take this in a negative light, but I think it could have been a lot of fun to talk about some of the negative.
Went in there really excited about this game to only be like, this was not.
I'm so excited for this Kickstarter. Oh, this is a pile of crap. Yeah, we don't want to go that negative, but that would be entertaining.
It would have been fun. But
I agree.
That was where my mind initially went, because initially I was like, I generally go into games expecting to like them.
That's why I get them,
And so I had a hard time trying to initially figure out what I was going to put on my list. And I was thinking, well, that was a surprise how terrible that game was, but I didn't go that route.
Well, a lot of times, publishers are nice enough to send us games, right? And they're games that we wouldn't normally be exposed to or be even on our radar at all. And those are some of the games that I chose, right? It's oh, okay. Yeah. Splitter. What? Huh? And then, wow, Splitter's great, Yeah. So, those are some.
I would have never bought Moon Colony Bloodbath just by looking.
No.
and I ended up buying my own copy. So that's how much I love this game and how surprised I was by it.
Yeah.
But it is awesome that we get to get review copies of games and try things that we wouldn't normally try.
Absolutely.
And we've said that a lot lately, I think. Anything else we want to talk about?
Excited about anything? Either of you guys? No? I think you have about 800 Kickstarters that are fulfilling pretty soon, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I do. I have problems.
Are you going to get the
there's worse
Point
things.
Galaxy?
I am not. I am passing on that.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
liked
pass on
Point
that as well.
Cities, or Point City, not enough to go Point Galaxy. How about you?
My kids have been playing Point Salad. Like Briggs, my youngest, has started playing Point Salad now, and he'll ask at night when he won't go to bed. His brothers are already in bed. He'll play it, and so we've had some late nights, 10, 11 o'clock at night, playing a 2-player game of Point Salad with my 3-year-old, and I love Point Salad and what it does. I think that Point City and Point Galaxy add a little bit more complexity to it than I want from what I get out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about Point City. Was that I liked the cleanness of Point Salad, and that's a good game that I should try with Caden.
Yeah, no, you totally should, because it recognizing the numbers is helpful. He doesn't fully recognize those, but he can recognize the positive and the negative and be like, oh, that means yes, I want tomatoes, or no, I don't want lettuce or whatever. And I think it's been a good
It's
game.
+4 in Flip 7, Dad.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. He loves that game, and we play that nonstop. So, that's a good one. I should try that with my little guy. Anything else?
No, I'm just excited to play games. I've been having a ton of fun playing a lot of games lately.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
It's just,
I am excited about Hoplomachus.
Hoplomachus, yes. So
I can't wait to try this.
just really quick, because there's a lot that we want to say about this game. But Chip Theory was nice enough to send us all of Hoplomachus.
There's one expansion that we didn't get.
Oh, what's that?
Aprilis and the Fools or something like that. I can't remember. It's something. It's an expansion we do not have.
Okay, we may have to remedy that.
Yeah.
Because I've been having a ton of fun with it. I've been playing the Hoplomachus Remastered. I've had 3 solo games played. And you've been playing Victorum, right?
I've been playing Victorum, which is the solo-only game. Remastered has multiple modes to it that can be played with more people, but yeah, Victorum is just a solo campaign, and I've almost completed my first full campaign. I have 1 act. There's 4 acts in a campaign, and I've got the final act, which is go find the big boss and defeat the big boss. So awesome. I'm excited to see that conclusion.
Yeah, I've played 2 games of Onslaught mode, and I felt like I got destroyed because you play against immortals, and there's a stack of 6 immortals. And when I see a stack, it's like, okay, I win the game if I get through all of them, right? I don't know how that's possible to get through all of them. I'm sure it is, and I'm sure there's people out there that are like, okay, I've done it, and then people have done it. But
we'll talk about a lot of Hoplomachus. We'll go in depth on it, right? But the reason I'm excited about it is because there's so much content, and I've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my campaign to be done so that I can start a new one and start on adding more content to it, trying out the different stuff. There is so much depth to it that I'm just like, I want to see what's going on in Remastered. I want to go see what's going on in Pandora's Wake and all these other expansions.
I've played Ascension mode versus the Titans, but there's 3 other modes to play. There's a head-to-head skirmish mode. There's this crazy mode where you get 4 people and they're all playing at the same time. There's cooperative stuff you can play. It's just it's kind of mind-blowing, and the quality of the game is just off the chart. So more to come on Hoplomag, but I'm excited about it.
Hands on one of these.
Yeah, and it's coming your way soon.
I almost bought Victorum multiple times when Boardlandia had 10% or 15% off, and I didn't pull the trigger, and I don't know. I've always kind of kicked myself that I didn't. So I'm excited to try these out.
I think that you will, in particular, get a kick out of it with Logan.
Yeah,
And, I think that to me, some of it, because of its chips and stuff, and again, not to go too in deep depth, it makes me think of War Chest, which is why I think you would like this with Logan. It's like War Chest on steroids to some extent, and I like what it's doing in the tactical skirmish realm.
Nice.
Yeah. It's cool that they're kind of compatible in between Remastered and Victorum, but we haven't explored that part of it yet. There's so much to this.
So more to come.
This whole system, there's so much to the system. So it's fun.
I can't wait to play it. Right now, I'm playing another legacy game in my life, and it is amazing. And more to come on that one. It's from my
teaser,
shelf of shame list.
You haven't started this yet. I refuse to believe this.
I have started.
He's playing it solo.
And it's, no, Logan and I have started, and I may be talking about this in our next episode. That's how optimistic I am that we are going to finish it by then. So
you're halfway through the first game then. Okay.
Yep. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I bet it is. It's one that I've wanted to play for a while.
I like this way more than
Whoa.
This may end up being my favorite legacy game of all time. I like the system way more than I like Pandemic System. I like this more than Divinus. I didn't really love House on the Hill, Betrayal on the House of the Hill, or whatever.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah, the legacy one. I didn't love that. I'm trying to think of other legacy games I've played.
Risk Legacy you played?
I didn't play that.
Oh, you didn't play Risk?
No, didn't play that.
You haven't played Ticket to Ride Legacy?
No. So I love this. It's fantastic, and I can't wait to finish it and then play season 2. And it's just, I don't know, it's great.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So it does not surprise me that it's great.
I am determined to get both of these.
I love that
you have
yet to mention what this game is, and we all know what it is, but any listeners who don't know what this is are probably infuriated right now by this conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, you said you were going to get through the whole campaign. That was your thing, right?
Yeah, both campaigns.
I am so excited for next year's Shelf of Shame episode. Let the mocking commence.
Yes, indeed. All right. So yeah, I think this wraps up our episode. Yeah. It's been good to get back to the table and talk about some games with you guys after missing that last episode.
Love talking about games. It's always a good time.
Let's keep playing games.
Let's do it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Tot ziens.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Surprise! I don't get why. Well, whatever. Lord of the Rings, the trick-taking game. Mistborn, the deck-building game.
Well, people need to know what they're buying.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I mean, I could see why they do it.
And there is already a Mistborn game.
Yeah, sure.
House War. Mistborn House War was a board game already, but it is not deck building.
Yes. And thankfully, the main title is not The Lord of the Rings. It's just Mistborn. It's short, quick. So future Mistborn games, it's Mistborn, the trick-taking game. Mistborn
Duo.
Anyway.
Mistborn, yeah.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah.
So that it's coming up soon. I don't know the exact date. If I was a good podcaster, I'd have researched that, but I didn't. So
That's fine.
yeah.
And it is designed by, if I was a good podcaster, I'd have that ready to go.
I have one thing to restate, since this is coming out later. Oh, Formaggio, the campaign's already active. Dude, I'm going to back this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was super cheesy.
It's okay.
Oh, that was cheesy. It's a cheese game. Yeah.
That was cheesy.
That was cheesy. Yeah. I think.
How's that for cheese?
That's some good cheese.
Yeah.
You're laying it on pretty thick.
Smearing it on. Smear costs.